There is a phrase, a simple arrangement of words that, when spoken with conviction and felt deeply, begins to mold the unseen into form. This is not about chance. This is not about odds. This is about the law of consciousness and the authority you hold over your own life experience. What you say every day becomes what you live. If you wake and speak from lack, you live lack. If you speak from victory, you live as the victor. The universe echoes back the sound of your own voice, clothed in circumstance. So declare boldly, daily, I have already won, the ticket is mine. The numbers are right. I feel the joy of receiving it. You are not pleading, you are not asking, you are stating what already is in the unseen realm. And as you persist in this inner declaration, you are drawing it into view, just like sunlight dissolving fog. Do not look to the world for signs. Speak it, feel it, and let the world follow. When you speak these words, close your eyes. See your hand holding the winning ticket. Feel the weight of abundance rush through you. Imagine your smile, your peace, your freedom. All of this is yours the moment you assume it within. Do not delay your miracle by doubting the process. Say it when you rise. Say it in your car. Say it under your breath. Say it as though it's done, because in truth, it is. The act of claiming your desire internally is the seed. The winning ticket in hand is just the fruit. Speak from fulfillment, not from need. Speak from certainty, not from hope. And above all, feel what you say. Your feeling is the magnet. Your word is the command. Say this every day. I am already the winner. My winning ticket is real. I feel it. I know it. I live it. Let this be the vibration that moves through you. Not just words, but a state of being, a frequency of fulfillment, a knowing that you are not waiting for life to bless you. Life is waiting for you to claim it. And once you've claimed it in your spirit, you can rest. The outcome is already yours. Imagination is the only creative power. It is not a metaphor nor a poetic concept, but the very essence through which all things come into being. You do not need to change the world. You need only to change your inner conversation and your imaginative experience of life. That which you assume and emotionally accept within the theater of your mind is what you will ultimately experience in the world outside. All outer events are simply the reflections of your inner state. Nothing more and nothing less. Every great change in life begins first as an imagined change. Before the artist paints, they see the picture within. Before the architect draws a line, the entire structure lives in the mind. And so it is with your life. If you persist in imagining the same scenes, repeating the same internal dialogues, and embracing the same emotional tone, then your world must reflect it with astonishing accuracy. Reality is not shaped by effort, but by assumption, by what you continually and vividly believe to be true in imagination. If you desire to attract the winning ticket, you must first become the version of yourself who has already received it, not in the outer world, but in the realm of imagination. You must walk, speak, and feel in your mind as though the thing were already yours. There is no need to struggle or chase. When you enter the state of the wish fulfilled, the desire has already been achieved in the only place that matters, consciousness. Do not confuse imagination with idle daydreaming. Daydreams pass through the mind without feeling. Imagination, when used correctly, is intentional and saturated with belief. It involves the full cooperation of your inner senses. You see, you hear, you touch, you feel the reality of your desire. You are not pretending, you are creating. The more real it feels, the more certain the outcome. You impress your subconscious through repetition, emotion, and vivid imagination. The world is plastic to the touch of imagination. You are not at the mercy of conditions, you are the cause of them. The world merely mirrors what you have accepted as true within. This is why repeated affirmations work not by convincing some external force, but by engraving a new pattern into your consciousness. The repeated phrase, when married with feeling, becomes your new state of being. And this state, not your words, not your effort, but your state, is what determines what comes next. You may say, but I don't see any changes. And the answer is simple. The outer world is always a delayed reflection. It is not the source. It is the shadow. You must persist in your inner assumption until it hardens into fact. Even if the world shows you contradiction, do not waver. The inner reality must be more real to you than the external evidence. Live inside the state of already having. Imagine the end and live from it. Speak as if it's done. Feel the satisfaction now. Then relax, for the seed has been planted, and what is planted in imagination, when watered with belief, must bear fruit in your world. The spoken word carries vibration. This is not merely symbolic language. It is a fundamental truth about how creation works. Every word you utter, especially when repeated with emotion and intent, sends out a frequency, a vibration that resonates beyond your physical self. It travels inward to impress the subconscious and outward to shape the world around you. Speech is not just communication, it is creation. When you speak, you are giving form to the formless, shaping energy into structure. Your subconscious mind is always listening. It does not filter, judge, or reason. It simply accepts what it is told, especially when the message is given with conviction. This is why daily declarations or affirmations are so powerful. The phrase you repeat, especially when paired with emotion and belief, bypasses the conscious gatekeeper and takes root in the subconscious. And once planted, it begins to operate as truth. Your reality must shift to reflect that new seed. It's important to understand that the power is not in the words alone, but in the state from which they are spoken. You can repeat the right phrase endlessly, but if you do so from doubt, fear, or frustration, you're planting mixed signals. But speak it from faith, from joy, from the feeling of already having what you desire, and your words become a force of transformation. They begin to align your inner self with a new reality. They create a new version of you, one that already possesses the thing you seek. Let's say your desire is to win. Instead of speaking from the state of hoping to win or wanting to win, you speak as though you have already won. I am already holding the winning ticket. Abundance is mine now. I am the chosen one. You do not beg, you do not plead, you declare. The difference may seem subtle, but it is everything. A declaration carries authority. It speaks from the mountaintop, not from the valley. When this phrase is repeated daily, it creates momentum. It becomes embedded in your identity. The subconscious, once impressed with the new pattern, begins to bring about experiences that match it. You don't have to figure out how. You don't have to interfere. The subconscious mind, once instructed, works tirelessly and silently to orchestrate all necessary conditions. The world around you will begin to shift. People, opportunities, and events will appear seemingly out of nowhere. It will look like luck to others, but you will know the truth. It was your word, repeated and believed, that changed everything. Life begins to rearrange itself around your dominant inner vibration. This is why you must be selective with your words. Every sentence you speak is either reinforcing the life you want or the one you don't. Speak abundance and you invite abundance. Speak limitation and you invite more limits. Your word is your wand, your tool of creation. So choose a phrase that aligns with your highest vision. Say it daily, not as a task, but as an act of power. Feel it, believe it, and watch as the unseen forces around you start to bend in your favor. The world cannot help but reflect what the subconscious has accepted as true. And the subconscious listens most intently to the vibration of your spoken word. Live in the end, this is the great secret. To live in the end means to occupy the feeling, the mental position, and the inner conviction that what you desire has already happened. You no longer think of the wish, you think from the wish. You do not hope to win, you live as though you have already won. This is the shift that changes everything. Because the moment you adopt the state of fulfillment, reality begins its quiet, invisible journey toward reflecting it. Most people live from a place of lack. They desire change, but they speak and feel from the absence of what they want. I hope I win. One day it will be mine. Maybe it will happen. These are not statements of power, they are admissions of doubt. The world does not respond to hope or waiting. It responds to conviction, to the inner claim that the thing desired is already yours. When you live in the end, you abandon all need to get something. You already have it, and your world will conform to that inner truth. The moment you feel as though you've already succeeded, you shift your frequency. You are no longer vibrating lack, you're radiating fulfillment. The world in turn begins to mirror that vibration. Circumstances, people, and events start to appear, not because you chased them, but because you became the person who naturally experiences them. You attracted them by alignment, not effort. To live in the end, you must become familiar with your desired reality, not just as a vague concept, but as a fully formed inner experience. What does it feel like to hold the winning ticket in your hand? What do you say to yourself when you realize you've won? How do you walk? How do you sleep? These are not fantasies. They are rehearsals for the world that is coming, because you've already accepted it within. The inner world always precedes the outer. Just as a seed must be planted before a tree can grow, the state of fulfillment must be accepted within before it appears without. When you live in the end, you stop looking for signs, you stop needing proof. The very fact that you feel it is proof enough. You've already moved into the state. And once you've moved, the world cannot remain the same. This is not delusion, this is creation. You are not ignoring reality, you are rewriting it. You are not reacting to circumstances, you are initiating new ones. When you persist in living from the end, life bends around your conviction. Delay and denial dissolve. The bridge of events unfolds quietly, and you find yourself in the very scene you imagined, almost without effort. Speak from the end. Feel from the end. Walk as though you've already won. Talk to others, even silently, from the identity of one who already possesses the thing desired. And when doubts arise, do not fight them. Simply return to the feeling. Rest in the end. Stay there. Because once the end is accepted as real, the middle must appear. The world will move to fill in the blanks. It must. Because it is only echoing the state you have chosen within. Inner speech creates outer circumstances. Every word you whisper within yourself, every silent conversation you rehearse, every assumption you carry, these are not fleeting thoughts. They are creative acts. They are seeds planted in the subconscious, which, when nurtured with feeling and repetition, grow into the very experiences you meet in your world. You may believe that your outer life is shaped by effort or chance, but in truth, it is your internal dialogue that holds the pen and writes the script. We talk to ourselves more than we speak to anyone else. That constant inner narrative, the one you run through while walking, working, or lying awake, is forming your reality. The world simply mirrors the tone and content of your most persistent self-talk. You may be smiling outwardly, but if within you're repeating, "Things never work out for me," or "I'm always overlooked," then those words are acting as command. They go forth and arrange circumstances to match. The inner speech is powerful not because it is spoken aloud, but because it is accepted. It is personal, it is private, it is felt, and the subconscious, which does not argue or reason, takes it in as truth. Then, without your conscious effort, it begins to draw people, events, and outcomes that reflect that truth back to you. You live inside the echo of your inner conversations. This is why it is not enough to merely wish for something different. You must change the conversation within. It is not enough to say, I want to be wealthy, while your inner dialogue says, I never have enough. The outer world does not respond to wishes. It responds to identity, and your identity is formed by the words you accept within. Begin to notice your inner dialogue. Become aware of the tone you use with yourself. Are you gentle or critical? Do you speak from power or from lack? Your inner voice should be your greatest ally, not your silent enemy. When you begin to shift it, deliberately and repeatedly, you start to shift the foundation of your life. Say within, everything is working in my favor. I am always chosen. Abundance flows to me easily. Let these words become your inner atmosphere. At first, it may feel unfamiliar, even false. But do not be discouraged. The subconscious does not care whether a thing is currently true or not. It responds only to repetition and belief. So speak the new script until it feels natural. Continue until the tone of your inner voice changes, until the new conversation becomes the default, and then watch as life responds. People will begin to treat you differently. New opportunities will arise. Problems will resolve themselves, not because the world changed, but because you changed. Within, you began to speak a new world into being. So treat your inner speech with reverence. It is not idle, it is not harmless, it is sacred, and it is powerful. Guard it, guide it, and most of all, use it wisely, for it is writing the story you are about to live. Faith is loyalty to the unseen reality. It is the quiet but unwavering inner commitment to what cannot yet be touched, measured, or proven. It is the deep emotional allegiance to a world not yet visible, and yet more real than what you see with your physical eyes. To have faith is not to hope weakly that something might happen. It is to stand firm in the knowing that it already has, though unseen, and to live in that knowing with conviction. When you speak a phrase, a declaration of your desire, such as I have already won or wealth flows to me now, it is not the repetition of the words that carries the power. It is the emotional fidelity to what those words represent. If you say the words mechanically with doubt in your heart, the words are empty. The subconscious does not respond to syllables. It responds to the feeling behind them. Faith gives your words life. Your commitment must be emotional. You must feel the truth of what you say, even when the world shows you its opposite. This is the test. Can you remain faithful to the unseen while the seen contradicts it? Can you continue to feel rich even when your bank account suggests otherwise? Can you persist in the feeling of health while symptoms still appear? This emotional loyalty, this silent agreement with your imagined reality, is the substance of faith. You are not required to manipulate the outer world. You are not even asked to understand how it will all unfold. Your only responsibility is to stay in alignment with the inner reality you have chosen. Your unseen desire, once assumed and emotionally accepted, will begin to harden into fact. The world is always bending to match the substance of your belief. But belief must be felt to be effective. If you speak affirmations as a chore or out of fear, they will not reach the subconscious. But if you speak them with joy, with love, with expectancy, they sink in. They become part of you. They change your state. And your state creates your. Faith is not a feeling of trying. It is a quiet confidence, a resting in the truth of the unseen. It does not strive, it does not force, it simply holds fast. And because it is anchored in the invisible, it is unshaken by temporary conditions. When you commit emotionally to your chosen phrase, you anchor yourself in a new reality. You begin to vibrate on the frequency of your desire, and the world, which always mirrors your dominant state, must respond accordingly. Life rearranges itself to make room for your inner truth. So feel what you say. Let the words carry emotional weight. Speak as one who knows the outcome is already secure. Smile as you say it. Relax into it. For faith is not struggle. It is surrender to what is in the unseen. And once you surrender emotionally to the unseen reality, you will watch in wonder as it becomes seen. This is the way, not with force, but with faithful feeling, not with repetition alone, but with emotional alignment. Say the phrase and mean it. Feel it. Be loyal to the world you cannot yet see. And that world will come rushing in to meet you. Persist regardless of evidence. This is the dividing line between those who manifest their desires and those who give up too soon. The outer world is slow to catch up because it is only the shadow of what you've already imagined within. When you understand this, you stop looking for immediate proof. You stop scanning the world for signs. You stop letting temporary conditions dictate your inner truth. Instead, you remain firm in your assumption, unmoved by what the senses report. Repetition is the key, but not repetition to convince the world, repetition to convince yourself. The world does not need convincing. It has no power of its own. It is a mirror, a projection, a reflection of the state you occupy within. When you repeat a phrase, an assumption, a scene in your mind's eye, you are engraving it upon the subconscious. You are reshaping your identity. And once you believe something deeply, once it becomes natural to you, the world must conform. You have no choice. Too many abandon their desire at the first sign of contradiction. They imagine abundance, but when bills appear, they say, it's not working. They affirm love, but when silence follows, they think, I must be doing it wrong. This is where persistence is required. Not forceful persistence, but faithful persistence. A quiet, unshakable decision to dwell in the end, to think from the result, no matter how long it takes for the world to rearrange. You do not repeat affirmations to force change, you repeat to assume the feeling of change. The aim is not to make the world believe it, the aim is to make you believe it. And belief is not born of a single statement, it is formed through saturation. Through constant inner exposure, the more often you dwell in the assumption that your desire is already yours, the more natural it becomes. And the more natural it feels, the more certain its appearance. You are not trying to force the river, you are aligning with its direction. Every time you return to the end, to the inner feeling of already having, already being, already becoming, you are redirecting your focus from lack to fulfillment. You are breaking the habit of reacting to what is and creating space for what will be. This persistence is not blind stubbornness, it is intelligent faith. It says, though the world shows me delay, I know the truth. Though nothing has changed yet, I have changed. I have moved into the state of the wish fulfilled, and I remain there. This decision becomes your foundation. You return to it each day, not to beg or plead, but to claim and accept what is already yours. Eventually, the inner state becomes dominant. It no longer requires effort. You no longer say the words to make yourself believe. You say them because you do believe. And in that moment, the world begins to shift. People change. Opportunities appear. Circumstances bend. Not because you chased them, but because you persisted. You became unwavering in your assumption, unshaken by delay, unbothered by contradiction. You repeated not for the world, but for yourself. And once you believed fully and emotionally, the outer world had no choice but to echo your inner conviction. This is the power of persistence. This is how change is made. Everything begins within. Your words, your feelings, and your inner conversations are not idle. They are the blueprint of your reality. The world does not shape your mind shapes the world. When you speak with emotional conviction, when you imagine the end is already fulfilled, and when you persist regardless of what the senses tell you, you are engaging the true power of creation. This is not wishful thinking. It is loyal imagining. It is divine law. Stay loyal to your unseen reality. Speak it daily. Feel it deeply. And persist until it becomes your lived experience. Because once you believe it within, the world must conform without. Sincere thanks to the listener. Thank you for listening with an open heart and a willing spirit. May these words awaken the power already within you, and may you never forget your assumption, your word, and your inner vision are enough to create the life you desire. Keep imagining, keep feeling, and above all, keep the faith.